Hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And hello, everybody. We're back. How's that? Let me see here. Sounds great. Okay, excellent. Let me know, Amber, if I need to turn up the music or myself or anything like that. Just let me know. But welcome in, Amber. It's so good to see you. How's it going? I'm going to pull you a Hummingbird card and also welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube as a replay, as I'm going to be doing with these going forward. Get some good archive in there. But today we're going to be hanging out and talking about Sagittarius. It's Sagittarius season. And it's also my husband Lars's birthday. So if you haven't, today is the day. So if you haven't wished him happy birthday on Discord yet, definitely pop on over there and give him a nice big happy birthday, because he's just amazing, and he's an amazing dad, and he's got Arthur. They're having some time together, and he had a day off today because of Thanksgiving. It's a perk having your birthday usually so close to Thanksgiving. I guess Thanksgiving changes every year. But also, Amber, how was your Thanksgiving? Oh, that sounds good. You're in and out of lurk. No worries. Let me get you your card then. Thank you for your sub. Okay, let's see. For Amber, this is a good stream to lurk to. Ooh, you've got bird bath. Show you the imagery there. Bird bath. It says, cleanse your dusty wings so you can fly more freely. Ooh, it was busy. Ours was the opposite. Oh, here comes the sunshine. Sunshine's coming in through the window. Ours, we intentionally were like, what would happen if we just did the three of us? Like, we just did Thanksgiving, the three of us. And it was amazing. It really was. And the night before, we met up with some friends at a restaurant. So it was kind of like sort of like a Friendsgiving, but Glamburger, you know Glamburger. We met up with Glamburger, and it was like a Friendsgiving, but it was like no stress because, you know, we just met up at a restaurant. Whereas like with our family, then we're able to like spend the whole day, you know, cooking, eating, hanging out, playing games. And there wasn't like a timing stress with eating, besides our tummies, which would tell us when we wanted to eat. But it was really good. So, yeah. I recommend a non-busy Thanksgiving when possible. I feel like I really just have to update you all because it's been 2 months since I've streamed, and I wasn't expecting it. In fact, I had a whole plan in mind about streaming around, like doing co-working streams around working for the school that Arthur is going to. Some of you might know that I'm in Waldorf teacher training. And my son Arthur goes to like a homeschool Waldorf school group thing. And I am doing some work in exchange for tuition with the school as I'm training. Now, I thought I would be doing admin work. Here's what changed. I thought I would be doing admin work. So then I was like, oh, great. I'll do that as part of like a co-working stream on here. And within the first couple weeks of school, that totally changed. They had to rearrange teachers. There was like a teacher shuffling. And I was now needed totally on site. So I'm on site, not at home, on site, not doing admin work. I'm actually doing work at the school and assistant teaching one day. So that is the big change. And that was the big thing that sort of threw off like, oh, wow, I made all these plans for the school year and for streaming and what that was going to be. And then it was like tip. But thank you all so much for sticking with me through that. I've been noticing the Discord has been so beautiful and active and wonderful. And yeah, you were surrounded by a ton of family, so it's a lot, but good too. You know what? I think what it is actually, Amber, is that that just happened. We took this big trip to my home state and Lars's home state. We saw all of our family. Lars's brother was getting married. So we spent like a solid week with just event after event after event, family, 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 family. And so this was like, oh. But I could also see, like, if we hadn't had that opportunity yet, that yes, the holidays are, you know, such a wonderful time to reconnect. Wonderful. Is that the word? It just depends, right? It just depends. You know, a time. It's a time. We often reconnect with our families. So yeah, that is my big update. So now I'm, you know, back to Saturday mornings. I still have 2 more years of Waldorf teacher training. I'm actually assisting a class though right now, so I'm actually like getting in there with the kids, and it's incredible. So that was part of the teacher shuffling that happened. And it's good, it's so rewarding. But then I was feeling this like tug, like, oh wait, but what do I do with my channels? And anyway, so I've got a whole new idea of, you know, we're not doing co-working exactly. We'll do some journaling together, but we're doing more so like the whole stream is going to be spiritual content. Spiritual content just like we did before, really. So here we go. And I'm inspired. But yeah, let me know how everybody is, and it's just amazing to see you. So we're going to get started today. First, we're going to open up with an affirmation from a beautiful flower. I've been working a lot with flower essences lately, kind of as part of my work with the school. So some of that inspiration will come here as well. We've got agrimony. So an interesting thing, I've been really thinking about Sagittarius and what I wanted to talk about today, but an interesting thing in the flower essences is that Bach, who created the system, who created flower essences at all, like the ability to do it, he is a homeopath. The first 12 remedies that he discovered had to do with 12 different types of people. And he did believe in the zodiac. I was looking this up, and my understanding is he did believe in the zodiac. He never himself tied each of the 12 flowers and the type of people that would need those remedies with the zodiac, but other people did. So Sagittarius, the one that goes with it, is agrimony. So I'll read you the affirmation, since we're all in this time of Sagittarius, regardless of your chart. I'll read you the affirmation, and then we'll talk a little bit about agrimony. We'll talk about Sagittarius. We'll pull some cards. We'll do some journaling, reflecting on the fall, since we're kind of getting to the end of fall here. If you're in the northern hemisphere, Sagittarius is the last, sign in fall. Welcome in, Kina. Hello. How does this work? Well, we're hanging out. We're talking spiritual topics. Is there anything in particular you're wondering? Does it have to do with like, if you're wanting to like have a card pulled for you and stuff like that? How does that work? Because I can explain that. Okay. So here we go. This part, you can just let this affirmation wash over you, see where it lands. And also welcome in, Kina. It is nice to meet you. Let me know if I'm saying your name right. Agrimony. Again, this is the flower. Here's the image. If you kind of want to call it in. Kin? Sounds good. Welcome in, Kin. It is so nice to meet you. I'm Violet. Alright, so it says, I acknowledge and accept my inner pain. Truth is my healer. I allow others to see who I truly am. My light shines luminous and transparent. This is such a beautiful, beautiful message with Sagittarius, because I want to tell you, and I'm going to actually put this in the chat. Okay. So in classical esoterica, specifically anthroposophy, which I study, that's the sort of spiritual stream that I'm in. There are many spiritual streams. They all have wisdom. They all speak to each other. So I'm in the stream of anthroposophy, and each zodiac sign has a virtue attached to it. And it actually has like a transformation process for you to focus on during that time, especially when the sun or the moon is in that sign, is when you really, really focus on this. Are you Capricorn? I am like totally Capricorn. Like my whole chart is Capricorn. I think my chart is on my Discord there for everybody to see. But yeah, no, my whole chart is Capricorn. Is that what you're saying you are? All right, let me drop this in the chat really fast. So, okay. Control of thinking or feeling becomes truth. Thinking or speaking, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. Control of thinking or speaking becomes truth. So whenever I think of Sagittarius, I think of the archer aiming for the star. So this really resonated with me with this idea of like truth. Truth is the star. Truth is what we aim for. And let me pull up my notes here as well. Because what's interesting really fast about agrimony, which we just read, is agrimony as a flower essence has a lot to do with covering up your truth and kind of putting on a mask, like putting on a happy mask, especially cheerful, and really kind of ignoring and repressing that inner pain. And just really fast, something else about it is that it often can lead to addiction or lead to things that sort of like pull you out of yourself, really, so that you don't have to experience what's actually deep within. So agrimony type people can often be like partiers. They can be very adventurous. This is very fitting for Sagittarius. They can be very adventurous. They could be thrill seekers. You know, they can be really fun to be around. But then there's this sort of like deeper thing that's happening beneath with agrimony, that it's kind of asking for this like truth and this light to come out. This light of truth, even if it's not, you know, as fun as ideal, you know? So the star of Sagittarius, so with the star that we're aiming for, we're shooting for the archer, or you could think of it as like, you know, a point, like the archer aims, you're headed for a point, and the execution of this is going to be imperfect. So what's interesting about speech is that it's always limited. So even simply the fact that we, you know, speak a language and other people might not necessarily speak the same language, it's like no matter what, even if we're masters of speaking, of communicating, of writing, even if we're masters of that, it is limited, if that makes sense. Yeah, so the other thing I wrote down here in my notes are intellect is a limiting force on truth. So with our intellect, as useful of a tool it is a tool. It's not us. It's not who we are. It's not our soul spirit. Intellect, it distorts truth. Like no matter what, if you're just, you know, if you're, you know, it's always going to be distorting truth a bit. The intellect purely. But when we think about what we're aiming for, and that is actual truth, and truth comes from love ultimately, and there's freedom in truth as well, even though you have to exert some kind of control when it comes to your thinking and your speech. So this is what's interesting. Because as I was studying this concept of like this virtue and why is it, you know, wondering like, and why is this attached to Sagittarius, and also like, you know, being connected to the flowers and thinking about agrimony, if you're not in control of your speech and of your thinking, something else can take over. something else can be in control. And that's the ultimate picture of unfreedom. You're hesitant lately. Isn't a really dumb topic. What is it? What is it, Ken? What's the topic? So if something else takes over, let's go back to this idea of addiction, because as we know, in this realm, you can be a bit more prone to addiction. Then this other thing, which you were using as an escape out of what felt like freedom. It's funny because Sagittarius, it already feels like freedom. It's like, I'm traveling, I'm exploring, I'm doing what I want to do, my whims, I'm, like partying. These are all kinds of like traits of Sagittarius type people. So fun, But if you kind of are using that to escape, if it's an escape and you're not acknowledging that inner truth, that thing that you're using to escape can take over. So you can see that with addiction of any kind, substance addiction, stimulants of mental all of that, or even like thrill seeking. I know a few agrimony types in my life, definitely. So as you're aiming for truth, you have to realize that you have to be in total control. So again, think of the archer. The archer has to have like total control, not be wavering, not be distracted. This unwavering focus, that's the control of speech and thinking. And so that's what we really work on during this time, because that is actually what leads to freedom. And anything else, although it immediately might feel like freedom, that's sort of the deception. It feels like freedom. Feels like freedom to get to like try out any vice or like, you know what I mean? But then actually those things can begin to control you. And then that's the ultimate picture of unfreedom. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, well, good luck with that, Ken. Dead Chrome, DC, it is good to see you. Stopping in to say hi. Hi, Dead Chrome. It's really, really, really good to see you. I've missed being on here. I was just explaining how I had to get started my first year in the school year and with teaching, with assistant teaching and stuff like that, which was actually my schedule unexpectedly totally changed. So it's taken me a good 2 months to get adjusted to that and to figure out, okay, how can streaming work in? And I figured it out, I think. It is really good to see you. I hope that you've been doing so well. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season and Sagittarius season as we're talking about it. So here we go. This is Sagittarius. Here's the archer. Oh, I see. I just need to put it over my face. And that's what makes it come into focus. That's what does it. Good to know. All right, cool. So let's pull an oracle card. We're going to pull from my own deck. This is the Collage Oracle. Oh, wait. I have to do it like that, right? In front of my face. And then, there we go. To get used to, like when your face, like the direction from what you see on the screen and like where you actually move. All right, so this is going to be from the Collage Oracle. Okay, is there a message for us collectively this Sagittarius season? And I wonder how it'll relate. Ooh. Oh, how interesting. It's about our inner world. I'll let you look at this picture a little bit. This is my collage deck. So basically it's got imagery kind of placed next to each other. You'll see different things in it depending on what you're asking about and thinking about. And I'll read you a couple of the things that are on here. It says interior realm, because I have little like bits pasted in text from magazines. Interior realm, magic words. If you have perspective and complexity, What's interesting to me, even just starting with that, it's like, okay, your interior realm, your inner truth. A lot of times I feel like Sagittarius energy is kind of like pushing outwards or grasping outwards or moving outwards, but this is like returning to that interior realm. Magic words, control of speech. Doesn't that relate? That's so cool. And then if you have perspective and complexity, it's interesting because it's like, yes, we can continue to seek out these experiences in the external world and be adventurous and try things, but it's always about like keeping that truth at the center, and that's that exercise of returning to the center control of speech and thinking. If you have perspective and complexity and allowing all those parts of your being, that complexity to be, this makes up the truth, you know? All right, so I'm going to read out of the booklet what it says. This card comes at a time when turning pages, mulling over words, and considering different perspectives may be helpful for you. That's an interesting thing to say too, when it's like, oh, we're thinking about truth, and it's this higher truth. It's beyond our own preferences. It's beyond, you know, what we've come to see from our viewpoint. This is related to the zodiac, but there's this esoteric principle that everything must be looked at from at least 12 perspectives. So there we go, that's the zodiac, 12 different perspectives to get a whole picture. And I feel like this is a big problem, like in the world right now, really, is that we all kind of think, okay, my one perspective, that is truth. And it's like, oh no, we got to take in the whole peripheral, the whole surroundings to really get to the center. And the truth is at the center. It's not from one side. You know what I mean? Okay. And center doesn't necessarily mean, I should say again, like it's not like compromising or like neutralizing. It's like a higher truth. It's higher than that. It's not just saying like, oh, any middle point between us is going to be true. Actually, like, we got to raise it up. You know what I mean? Okay. Sometimes, surprisingly, the most learning can come not from reading nonfiction, but from traveling the worlds of fictional stories. Woohoo. Here we go. Imagination and travel. If you drew this card because you have a particular situation in mind, you may need to take some time to expand through any personal limitations and try to see it from multiple points of view, from the other people involved, or how other people might see and interpret the situation who aren't so close to it. I feel like this is really important, especially if we are kind of getting shaken up by, say, around the holidays, having to be around family, having to be around people with kind of like different, you know, differing feelings about things, who knows? You are being encouraged to take yourself to a bookstore or library. Run your hands across the books. See what you're drawn to. What a beautiful Sagittarius activity. Especially if you're in the winter. I love to read in the winter time. I know half the world isn't during Sagittarius season, but still, I have to connect it with the seasons. I just have to. We are going to later too with our fall. We'll reflect on the fall with our journal prompt. Okay. You may even want to take a look at the books that are already on your shelf. Is there anything you abandoned that it's now time to pick the thread back up on? Is there something on your shelf to sink into without the need to go find something new? Is there something to read again from this new place you are at in life? I like that one. I really like that prompt. No matter the way you're guided to take this message, whether it is discovering something new, something old, or something forgotten, exploring and reading material is guaranteed to be a worthwhile venture for you. Beautiful. Okay, let me check my notes and see if that's everything I wanted to say. about Sagittarius season. Okay. Yeah. It's like speech. So again, it's like, yeah, speech and the intellect are actually limiting to a degree when you get to a certain point. Naturally limiting. And with Sagittarius energy, we're supposed to overcome our own limitations to aim for something higher. Okay, beautiful. All right, so I'm thinking we're gonna take, you know what, there was one more oracle card that I really wanted to read. Are you all down for another oracle card? And once again, just to let everybody know, if you would like to have a card redemption, an oracle card for you, and you can have a question in mind with it too, you can get one via channel points, and you can also get one if you're a Ko-fi member. You can go ahead and order that on my Ko-fi shop, and there's a link right there to the Ko-fi shop. It came up with the stream bot. And, oh yeah, Ko-fi stream bot. That's one of my bots. I was trying to remember my bots. I was like resetting everything up for streaming, you know? And what was I going to say? Oh, yes. If you get it off of the shop, just let me know because I don't always get the notification for that. All right. So let's pull a card from the Mother Mary Oracle. I just love this one so much. It's such a comforting deck for me. My, welcome in. Blessings to all. Oh, it is so good to see you. How are you? How's it going? It's good to be back. Hey, I'm going to give you the brief rundown because I sort of started this stream talking about what's been going on. And essentially what happened, I had a whole plan for streaming this year because I was supposed to be doing the admin work for the school. And then what actually happened was we had a teacher shuffle. Things had to move around in terms of teachers in the first couple weeks. So then I was thrust into I've been working at the school every day. Instead of being home, like working on admin stuff, I'm having to be there on site, hands-on. I'm assistant teaching a class. I'm doing other parts of it. And it's amazing. It's incredible. But I had to sort of rework, okay, wait, how's streaming fitting into this? And I also had to kind of get adjusted to that, you know what I mean? You are overworked. I feel you. I understand. I mean, there's a joy. There's a joy that I feel, but I'm this is a new kind of balancing situation, like life balance. I'm sorry you're feeling overworked though. Are you gonna get a break soon? Do you get much of a break for the holidays or anything like that? I'm pulling a Mother Mary Oracle today. We just had a whole conversation on Sagittarius and Sagittarius energy and things like that. But I'm going to be putting this up too. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, this Sagittarius season hangout. So it'll be available. And also, after this card and a short break, we'll come back and do a journal prompt together. So just to plant that seed in anyone's mind, if you want to grab a journal or choose a journal for this kind of work. Okay. HR still has to prove, but you will get a promotion. Congratulations. Oh, that is so exciting. But not much of a break anytime soon. Gotcha. You kind of you're being thrown into, are you taking on more responsibilities with the promotion? I would assume so. All right, any messages from this deck as we go into the winter, as we begin to let fall wane and winter rise? Okay, we got Our Lady of the Ocean of Rebirth. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the mindfulness portion of this and kind of get ourselves centered before we journal, which will still take a teeny break before we journal, but here we go. First, I'll read you the message, and then I'll read you the mindfulness. I champion your growth always. I know when hard edges are best to be softened, and when it is time for you to receive reward for efforts made. Allow me to help you release a karmic pattern so that you can now be reborn into new consciousness. Allow me to heal your life from the inside, that the outside may change and reflect your inner beauty and spiritual light. I am bringing you assistance now, that a force beyond your control may be softened and your successful growth assured. Wow. I feel like I've been kind of in the grinder in terms of like challenging stuff. Oh, I actually have to face a challenging thing this evening, actually. So I welcome any strength energy for that. I've been in the grinder, and I feel like it's so... Has anyone else been feeling this way? Because I've heard this from a lot of people, that the energy right now feels really intense. It feels intense in the way that it usually does leading up to solstice, but it started earlier. That's really what I've been feeling too. So I'm curious if anyone's been anyone here has been facing bigger obstacles, bigger challenges. It's that feeling, being in the grinder, grinding, which is preparation. We prepare for this new year. It's part of it. The rebirth of the sun, you know? Anyway, so this message of the softness, I'm bringing you assistance now, that a force beyond your control may be softened and your successful growth assured. It feels kind of like that sort of softening of the soil, like, okay, it's, we're preparing. We're preparing. It's a great learning opportunity, Mai, and a huge project you're doing until summer next year. Wait, so like summer 2026? You already have all the responsibilities. Now the job title will match. Oh, good. Okay, good. Yes, excellent. Better title, hopefully better pay. Still doing the same responsibilities. Still overworked. And I hope that you get more rest and more balance comes in, especially if you're feeling in the grinder like I am. But at least, those things match. That's good. Summer 2026, okay, a big project. Doing all the teaching instead of admin is similar for me. Yeah, because it's like the admin work, it's useful and like that's necessary. But the teaching work is like being thrown into the pot. Like, here we are. Okay, I'm here. Like, when children are looking at you, you don't have time to like kind of step away, figure it out. It's like, oh no, we're here and we're doing it. My first day assistant teaching was just like that. It was like, okay, we had planned for at least a 10-minute window. We were doing prep work the morning leading up. It's kind of this off-grid situation actually with yurts, and so we were like doing the firewood, like getting it all warm, making the space right. My first day assistant teaching was on a cold day, and there was going to be 10 minutes where I'd be able to really talk to the teacher about like, okay, and here's some of the technical stuff. How do I do this and this and this and this? Like the stuff that was like, I don't know how to work this oven to bake the bread, stuff like that. And those 10 minutes, a parent actually came earlier with her child to drop off. So it was actually like, oh, no, we don't get that. We are in it. Here we are doing it. You know what I mean? So it was pretty intense. Okay. If everyone can find kind of a comfortable spot or state of mind just for a moment, we're going to do this quick mindfulness healing process and affirmation, it's called. And then we'll take a teeny break. So think about if you want to make tea, whatever you want to get situated for journaling. We'll take a teeny break after this. You can have that in your mind. But go ahead, we're going to set the stage. Maybe we'll do this in the future after the break before the journaling, because I'm kind of feeling this like, okay, we're setting the stage for journaling. You know what I mean? All right, so it says, are you all ready? Perceive that you are standing at the edge of a vast, powerful ocean, with the water lapping at your feet on the shoreline. You gaze at the horizon, watching a stunning sunrise or sunset taking place. Whatever feels right for you. Out of the sun, the beautiful Divine Mother emerges in flowing robes of gold. She pours golden light from the sun behind her through her heart and hands and onto the top of your head. It pours through you in tingling waves. The golden light comes out of your feet and continues flowing into the ocean, filling it with golden light. Repeat this healing prayer. Okay, so I'll say it, and if you feel inclined, you can say it with me. You could think it in your mind. You could write it down if you can write down really fast, however you want to do it. Imagine as you speak that you are sending the words with love from your heart to the Divine Mother. Okay, here we go. I call upon the karmic healing and spiritual grace of the Divine Mother, who loves me unconditionally. I ask for and accept your divine intervention and karmic grace in all areas of my life now. I gratefully receive blessing and harvest of spiritual grace that will serve my highest good now. Through divine love and my own free will, so be it. And we will finish with this closing affirmation. I am blessed with extraordinary grace and the divine intervention of the Holy Mother. Liane, welcome in. Thank you so much. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give you a little preview of next. We have this journal prompt as we close up autumn and we'll be moving into winter, the next cycle. So we're in Sagittarius. It's the last, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the last zodiac sign in fall before winter. So we'll be doing a journal prompt. That was a little preview, and I will go back. So grab a journal if you'd like, grab some tea. I'm gonna make myself some tea. We're gonna take an 8-minute break. And this actually harkens all the way back to when I was doing the daily morning ritual streams. I always felt like 8 minutes was the perfect amount of time. I think I used to like try to take like, oh, it's a 5-minute break. And it would be too short to like actually make that cup of tea or whatever it is. It would be too short. 10 minutes feels too long. 8 minutes feels just about right. I'd say like 7 or 8, right there in between. We'll do 8 to be on the safe side. So I've got a little video that plays over the 8-minute break, but I will see you all in 8 minutes. And thank you, and grab your journal and grab whatever will set you in the right mood. Maybe some hot apple cider, or we keep apple cider. We try to, I've got a couple that are in the freezer. I try to defrost them for special occasions in the winter, and then like heat it up on the stove, and it's so nice. All right, so grab whatever you need, a snack, some tea, like I said, your journal, and I will see you in 8 minutes. Hello everyone, Violet here, and welcome to my channel. Whether you're brand new here or a longtime subscriber, I started creating content in 2020. I started with planner content, Plan With Me live streams, and then I moved into reading tarot via live stream. If you want to book me privately for a private intuitive card reading, you can do so via my Ko-fi page. I decided to take my readings off stream so they'd be a bit more private, and I would love to meet with you. So you can get a reading from me via Ko-fi, and there are 2 options. You can get one that is a written or a video reading that I take your question on my own, I create it and get back to you. Or you can book me for an hour and a half and we will have a conversation, go back and forth, and really try to get to the bottom of what it is you want to look at in your reading. So now I'd love to tell you about some of the other fun things that I offer and some of the membership tiers for the membership possibilities. So I've created an oracle deck and a booklet to go along with it, and that is available on the Game Crafter as well as some of my other creations if you want to check that out. And even more of my creations and offerings are available on my Etsy shop. So on Ko-fi, I have memberships for bonus spiritual content, and on Patreon, I have memberships for bonus creative content. But I thought I'd go through the different tiers of membership, starting with the cheapest option and then all the way up to the most supportive. So the basic Twitch subscription or YouTube membership is called Hummingbirds, and this also includes discounts in my Etsy and Ko-fi shops, as well as any entrance into giveaways if I do a giveaway, and access to a private Discord channel. And then of course, if you subscribe on Twitch or become a member on YouTube, you also have access to emotes and badges and all of the fun stuff that comes with those types of memberships. Also as part of the Hummingbirds tier and Birdie's Besties, which we'll get into in a second, and going up pretty much any of those, you have access to my full archive of YouTube videos, and I have over 200 videos that, you know, I created along my journey that I've since narrowed it down on my channel to what I want to have public as like my public face. But if you want more personal videos and some really fun stuff like ghost hunting, things like that, as well as card readings for seasonal lunar phases, then those all open up as unlisted playlists, and it's available for all of the members on YouTube, Twitch, and Ko-fi. The next tier up is called Birdie's Besties. It's available on Ko-fi, and you get all of the same benefits as the Hummingbirds tier, except for the things that are specific to YouTube or Twitch, like the emotes and badges and that sort of thing. With this one, you get free oracle card readings. You ask a question, I'll pull you a card, we discuss, and that's available when I'm live on stream. And you can also get 1 per month messaged to you. You can send me your question and I'll message you an oracle card and we can talk about it each month. So next we have the Constellation Club tier, and this is for people who really want to get into developing themselves spiritually and learning about esoterica. I'm really into classical esoterica. I've created a bunch of resources and documents that's available for anyone on that tier, and writing and very helpful stuff, journal prompts for the different lunar phases and everything like that. And I also offer private live stream Q&As where we can talk about anything's on the table, spiritual topics. And I don't like to talk about some of this stuff publicly as much because it can go really deep and it can take time to explain, and it can also be confronting to people. But I do have this available for Constellation Club members. I am deep into years of research in classical esoterica and mysticism, and anytime I get 5 questions or more, I will do a live stream, up to 1 a month. And catch all of your questions. And there's a form that you can submit the questions through. You can use your username, or they can be anonymous, and you can submit as many as you want. So you can even submit 5 and we'll go live and we'll do a Q&A. And then anyone who's able to show up from the Constellation Club will also be able to ask questions during the Q&A as well. The Constellation Club is available on Ko-fi, YouTube, and Twitch, and includes the benefits from the previous tiers. At the same price point, we have the Creativity Companions on Patreon. So on Patreon, you continue to get the discounts, entrance into giveaways, and that sort of thing. But this one is more on the personal and creative side. So you'll see updates on my art projects and creative stuff. But the biggest thing I offer on there too is access to my first novel that I actually wrote almost entirely on live stream and edited on live stream. So people here, you're all part of my journey with this as well. And the whole thing is available on Patreon, so you can read it, and it's organized by chapter. I also offer on here personal Q&A, so you can use a similar form to the Constellation Club to submit a question, and I will make a post or make a video or something like that on my Patreon to address the question, any reasonable question. And then we have the Card Slingers tier, which is my tarot course. And the Card Slingers membership is available on Ko-fi, YouTube, and Twitch, and includes the benefits from the previous tiers. I would love for you to be a part of my tarot course. As a tarot reader with many years of experience, I've read for hundreds of people, I've built up a tarot business both online and in person. This has really been the culmination of how I see the system and how I can see it being the most graspable, especially if you're new, and also going deep for if you're already a seasoned reader as well. So this is available as a $25 per month membership. All of the links and details are down below. It's really something that you could choose to go all the way through and complete in 1 month, or you could have access to it as long as you'd like. This includes 22 video lessons in which we'll go through each of the cards of the major arcana, but then also the cards themselves, the characters of the cards, the archetypes of the cards, they have something to teach us about the rest of the tarot system. So we learn the entire system of tarot, as well as techniques for giving readings, building a business, creating spreads, choosing a deck, all sorts of things like that included on this journey in a very organic way that follows the system of the tarot itself. Each lesson also includes a summary and some journal prompts and reflections and activities that if you then email to me, you will earn a certificate at the end. Also included is access to a private forum just for Card Slingers students on my Discord, beautiful Discord community, where you can chat with people, you can chat with me, you can discuss what you're learning, and you can also read for each other and do some practice sessions. Also included in this are all of the benefits from previous tiers. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being a part of the channel and, supporting in any way, whether that's engagement or being in the community on Discord or, supporting in some of these bigger ways. All of it means the world to me, and just thank you so much for being along this journey with me. I will see you next time. Okay, we are back. Hello, hello, hello. I changed my backdrop around to have more of a fall feel. So, like I said earlier, and welcome back, everybody. Let me know if you're drinking tea or coffee or what you have. And, I did forget to mention, I just dropped it in the chat, but you might also want a deck of cards, oracle or tarot cards, because there is a prompt for a card pull on here. I've got my journal, which is also my planner. I've got my bullet journal in here. So I'll be journaling along with you. And as I was mentioning earlier, Sagittarius is the last autumn zodiac sign before we move into winter. So I figured let's get this one in here. So it says, Oh, and by the way, I made this. No AI. It's always just me. I never use AI for, like, you know, creative or spiritual stuff. The journal prompt. Autumn is a wonderful time to connect with community and prepare the inner space to go into the dark time of the year. That's kind of where we're at, by the way, preparing that inner space. We're about to kind of really, you know, dive into that. That's a lot of Sagittarius season for me, preparing that inner space. We can also sometimes be faced with challenges that feel larger than our capabilities. That too. That too. That's Sagittarius too for me. Oh my goodness. Which require courage. What is your relationship to courage? Have you felt the call to give something of yourself that helps the greater whole? How might these forces be at play in your life now? And the card pull to go along with it is, what is something I can potentially step towards with courage? So as we're kind of settling into this, I'm going to grab a deck. I'm getting my tarot deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith. If you don't have a deck, you can also feel free to use Discord. I've got a channel called the Divination Tent, and you can actually pull a card, like a card. It'll give you a little explanation in that channel if you need to. Make sure I get all the cards out of here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull my card and I'll share with you. And then we'll have some time of just journaling as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna time it. I think I might just sort of go with the flow with it, if that sounds good to you all. I used to do all like timed writing sprints. I'm feeling the need to be a bit more organic now. So that's what we'll do. Okay. So the question is, what is something I can potentially step towards with courage? Potentially step towards with courage. So I'm pulling this for myself. Mm. 10 of Pentacles in reversed is mine. I'm going to tell you immediately what comes to mind with mine personally, but then I might discover something else through journaling, and at the end we'll do a little bit more like reflecting on what we journaled about. So feel free to keep, you know, anything to yourself you want to keep to yourself, or, you know, share with the community anything that you want to share. It's all welcome. So for me, what immediately comes to mind with this one, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, is in stepping towards something with courage, it's actually leaving what's comfortable. It's also leaving what society says you should be wanting and striving for. It's actually kind of leaving that behind, especially to do with monetary things, comforts, those kinds of things. So the courage would be to like lay that on the table and say, you know what, that's not like gaining these resources. That's not what my life is about. It's like the Sagittarius thing again of aiming higher, right? Aiming somewhere higher. That's what I'm thinking immediately with this one, but I'll do some journaling about it. And it looks like we've got an ad break about to begin. So before that starts, I'll just go ahead and reiterate that we're gonna spend some time journaling, and I'll be mostly quiet while we're journaling, but it's not gonna be like 100% like, you know, if we get a raid or anything like that. I think how I'm gonna hold this is a little different than I used to hold the writing sprints. It's gonna be a little bit more organic. It's gonna be like we're hanging out together, friends with our journals. At any point in the session, feel free to pop anything that's on your mind into the chat, anything you've discovered, what card you pulled, if you pull a card, anything like that. It's all welcome. So Same thing too, if you're watching this in the future, I'm going to be putting it up on YouTube. Feel free to share anything in the comments, anything you thought about, because we go through it collectively too. All right, so let's begin. Welcome in, Chiz. We're doing a little bit of journaling if you want to join us. We were talking earlier about Sagittarius energy, and we're kind of closing out the fall fall energy with this journal prompt. It's already starting to feel like winter where I am. But welcome in. Hello. Nice to meet you. You're in the perfect spot then. Hello. I'll give a little recap at the end of what we talked about with Sagittarius energy, if you'd like. Oh, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, Lion. One of my mods here is also from Germany. I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for that follow earlier. I'm about probably halfway through this journal prompt, just to let you all know, but I'd love to hear if you pulled a card or anything. Feel free to drop anything in the chat. I won't interrupt too much because I know people are writing. We'll have a little bit more time with it, if that sounds good. Okay, if you want to start sort of either wrapping up what you're writing, if you want to discuss, or feel free to keep writing. But here in just a minute, I'm going to be talking more. So you can kind of bring to mind if you want to share anything or anything like that at all. So here in just a minute. Okay. So how was that for you? How was the prompt? Feel free to screenshot it or anything if you want to save it for later. I should mention too that I have a prompt for every moon cycle, weekly prompts that follow every half moon, full moon, and new moon, which is about every week, 4 in the 28-day cycle of the moon. I have those available for Constellation Club members, which are basically tier 2 subs, or the second tier in Ko-fi, or on YouTube as well. So those are available to Constellation Club members if you like these journal prompts. But yeah, so I wanted to discuss it in case anyone has anything, that you're like, wow, this really brought up something in me. So this felt a bit broad because it's like, okay, we've been in this energy for a little bit. We've been in the fall. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you've been in this fall energy, and it's beginning to be time to, really prepare for the winter. And so we're preparing our inner world, and that's part of the intention with this journaling. Okay, so let me go to the spot where I closed my journal, actually. Okay, so I think that my original interpretation, this is the card that I got, this is the one that I pulled. I think that one still remains true for me, and it sort of set the stage for what I was journaling about, which I think that's a real gift and use of the tarot, actually, and oracle cards, is to use it as sort of like, it's almost like a prompt in itself, but it opens up the space for something new. It's like between me and between the card, something new can arise that wouldn't with just me, because maybe I wouldn't have thought of the things that the card made me think of. It also wouldn't with just the card, because it's very individual, like what that means in different situations and for different people. So that's something that I wanted to say about. That's really the magic, I think, in card reading is the 3. It's like something arises between me and this that I wouldn't have all otherwise had, even with the words of the prompt. Because automatically when you're reading, like, okay, here's my journal prompt, you're kind of faced with your regular patterns of thinking, actually, for the most part, and unless you really like stretch beyond it. So this card helped me stretch a little bit. And one thing I was going to say is that, like, in aiming for something higher, we have to lay something of ourselves, of our personal selves, our personal desires on the altar. So I made a little list of what I'm personally like laying on the altar. And not to like go into too much detail because it's personal, but it's like essentially something good to lay on the altar would be like a kind of a habit, maybe that's not constructive, like an unconstructive habit that takes time away from what you could be using towards your higher purpose. So that's something to lay on the altar. That's something I am. And as well as doing things for the purpose of kind of like self whatever it is, like success, pleasure, comfort, distraction, kind of self-oriented things, like laying that. And you might still be doing a similar activity. Like with me, I actually wrote a little bit about streaming and what that's going to be, and how, like, okay, how can I actually use this? Like, how do I want to nourish the world? What can I bring through this? Here's a medium. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I was thinking about. It's interesting too, because this theme of courage, it really had me think about fear and realizing, like, oh yeah, fear is almost something that I'm so used to being a part of my life that I almost like forget it. We were talking earlier about agrimony being the flower for Sagittarius, and the one for Capricorn, which I'm like all Capricorn. My main sign is Capricorn, and then like so many of my placements are Capricorn. Main sign meaning the sun. Like the main sign. My sun sign is Capricorn, as well as like a ton of the other ones. Mimulus is about fear. So that's interesting. And I was realizing like, oh yeah, you know, like I've made this whole like personal remedy for myself. I did identify a different one of the 12 healers. One of the 12 healers, I identified a different one as being that my type. But now I'm kind of questioning like, okay, well at least by the zodiac, Mimulus would be huge. So anyway, so I'm adding that to my personal remedy because I didn't even think about that before, which is so interesting. It's like, oh, I'm so used to it that it lingers here. Sometimes it's like those things that we're blind to are because they're so close to us. And then that's actually the biggest thing. It's like peeling back the veil and finding that. So that's the goal with the prompts and with the card pulling, is to peel back that veil and to kind of see things fresh and new so that you can actually like see what it is around you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, this was huge. So a big thing that I'm having to deal with in the themes of truth, I mean, we were talking about truth with Sagittarius and aiming for that higher truth. And especially through our speech and our thinking, you know, because speech can reflect our thinking, and vice versa. They speak to each other. But in aiming for a higher truth, we have to kind of somewhat control, like we have to be able to grasp and hold our speech and hold it to those standards. And so with truth being this higher aim, having to actually grasp my speech and have that in mind. A big thing that's come up with me lately in many different areas is social stuff, social dynamics. So how can I like maintain truth in social dynamics without falling into my other patterns, which are kind of on the lower sort of it's actually self-serving. It's so interesting. People pleasing is my pattern and habit. And it's actually self-serving because why? It keeps me in a place of comfort. I'm comfortable there because I'm used to it. It's how I was raised. But I'm also like in this place of comfort because then, I don't have to confront people. I just recently had something where someone who's, you know, been very close to me throughout like streaming journey and close to the channel and stuff like that sort of ghosted me. And I kind of just had to like, I sort of had to find a way to see the truth of what it actually was. You know what I mean? Not to go into detail with that. And then I have something in my personal life, in real life, IRL, not that this isn't real, but IRL, I had something with having to kind of come to the truth of a relationship between me and someone else there too. And the outside party of like, and how am I speaking about this person? And then what am I saying to this person? And where's the truth? The truth is uncomfortable. And that you need courage. You need courage to be willing to aim towards the truth. You know what I mean? It's higher. It's higher than our personal like emotions and whims and shadows. And there's kind of this kind of area where everything plays out. And then there's this higher thing. Oh, thank you, Mai. Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, like I feel like in all areas of my life, this one included, sometimes it's actually the social sphere is the most challenging for me. I don't know if that's true for everybody. Maybe we have different, you know, I know that we're meant to meet different challenges in life, but that's the one that just comes up again and again and again. And I always think like, oh, I'm past that. And I know who I can trust. And I can like feel like, you know, I like think of people in a way where I'm expecting like the best of them, the best sides of them. You know what I mean? Ghosting is interesting. Just something I want to say about it. And again, this isn't directed towards anyone. This is actually in general. It's something I've experienced before. I'm sure a lot of us in the age of the internet have experienced ghosting. Ghosting is kind of a selfish thing. And you might think that in a way you're like, oh, this is justified because of X, Y, and Z. But if you're not like communicating that X, Y, and Z or like offering an opportunity for growth from it, it offers it offers an opportunity for growth from the other person. Like if they've done something wrong, and maybe again these blind spots, like maybe we're blind to it, it offers an opportunity for growth with the other person to mention it. It doesn't mean you have to be friends after it, you know what I mean? But just ghosting is kind of like a way of keeping yourself comfortable. Like, I'm more comfortable if I'm not in conflict. So I'm just not going to have conflict. I'm just going to stop talking. That's like kind of a selfish sort of action, because then it actually puts more pain on the other person. Because yes, you've got the pain of like the kind of like, okay, this is no longer the case. Like whatever was between us no longer is. That's pain, right? But like, that's inevitable. That happens with relationships. But then on top of that, you've got this whole other layer of, and I don't actually know why. It's that mystery. And that's what'll eat at you. You know what I mean? Like, closure is so helpful. You have a lot going on in workspace relationships at the moment. It's about navigating the motives behind the words and how departments work together. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sending you so much support and love. Like, I completely understand. It's so interesting in these kinds of spaces where you're like sort of forced to be around people, and then what comes up between the people, like things like workspaces or community or living situations where it's like, okay, gotta be around them. And really interesting things arise from that. I use the word interesting in an interesting way. Sometimes it's pretty interesting. Yeah. But it's okay, because again, it's like, we can use it as an opportunity to find our inner truth. Maybe in a way it's a gift. Like, okay, this conflict happened or didn't happen. In the case of ghosting, what happened? I don't know. This happened. Now I can kind of like, yes, it's like difficult to not know why, but maybe it's an opportunity to sort of kind of check myself and sort of find, okay, well, what is my truth? You know, that's not like, I can't depend on just how other people see me and how I see them and how we interact as being the fabric of my truth, clearly. So I actually have to find that internally. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm taking from that. And Chiz, I was saying earlier that since you're a Sagittarius, I'd go over a little bit what we talked about with Sagittarius energy. But it's mostly that. It's aiming for truth. And in doing so, and there is a freedom in that. But it takes kind of control. We have to control ourselves. Just like the archer aiming for a mark has to be like very deliberate and very controlled in their movements. You know what I mean? So freedom, we think of freedom as like, oh, we do what we want, we follow our whims, but actually there's a lot of traps in that, and it lays the groundwork for getting kind of stuck in patterns and things like that. So like the people pleasing, for example, or ghosting or whatever it is, like, oh, I'm gonna do what is conflict avoidant, and so that in a way is what I want. So there, I feel like I'm having freedom by choosing that, but actually it's like kind of traps you in this dynamic that isn't true and therefore isn't free. You know what I mean? It's like the people, you do not feel free. That's what I have to say. If you're like stuck in people pleasing, you do not feel free. There are always two angles to look at with ghosting, yes. Sometimes it is important to protect their own energy, is true, but it for sure means the other person doesn't get a chance to grow and get closure, right? And then again, the ghosting is the closure, how I see it. It's tough when it's not like it's like when it's sort of unclear. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, is that, you know? But yeah, it is closure. It is closure, because I was like, okay, if you're willing to do that in the way that you did it, then one, you're not actually like who I thought you were, or you're not living up to who I thought you were. And also, that actually isn't a friendship dynamic I want. So it is closure in a way. It is. That's true. It can be. It means for me the other person can't deal with conflict and it doesn't say anything about me. And that's also true. Yeah. It's just that whole question. Like, well, where did that come from? Why? You know? But that's very true. Yeah, it's there's so many different angles to see it. You're so right. The thing about protecting your own energy, it's like, I think there's a way that you can do it and still protect your energy. I think that's part of this, right? Is like speaking truth. There's a way to speak truth and like do so in a way that's protected. Like you're not kind of like opening yourself up, or like there's a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be an interesting question. Like, oh, I'm feeling the need to protect my energy from this thing. How can I do it in such a way that I do speak truth? I do offer what's needed in the situation. I understand with like abusive relationships and stuff like that, by the way. Like, I totally understand just like getting out of it. But in more complex situations, I feel like there's a way to do it and still like keep your, because you don't have to start a conversation. It doesn't have to become a conversation. It could just simply be like, here's the seal on this that I'm no longer going to be a part of this relationship or whatever it is. In the streamer world, it's often all a payoff, and once the other doesn't deem you valuable anymore, they vanish. Well, I've certainly not been very valuable lately. That's what I'll say. Not in that, like, in the sense you're talking about. In the sense of, like, whatever it is, like networking or, like, the ability to support other creators. I go through phases where I can, like, really support, you know, other people creating and makers and things like that. And then through phases where I, like, can't do it. So that's a very good point, Maya. I think that is very potentially, like, a big part of it, actually, now that you say it. 10 of Pentacles in reverse, laying it on the altar. I don't have it all. That's okay. Higher truth as in truth about myself. I'm sorry, you're new to that. Oh, no, you're good, Shiz. Yeah, it's like, it's interesting because what I'm really learning about, and I hope that this makes sense, and let me know if it's confusing. So I'm going to try to see a way to say it. Okay. There are like levels of self, right? So there's the self that kind of lives in your feelings, your emotions, your like likes and dislikes, your preferences, that kind of thing. That's very personal to you. It's cultural. It's like kind of in this sphere. And I'm just going to kind of put it in this area if we're talking about the area of our body. It's kind of like it's around us. It's around us. And that's true, and we live in it. Then imagine that there's like a golden like ray that's like a pillar, and that is like higher truth, your higher self. Your higher self is beyond your physical body. Your higher self is beyond your like cultural, the way you wear, you know, like normalcy or whatever it is. Your higher self is beyond your likes and dislikes. Your higher self is actually completely unselfish, even though it is an individual stream and it's got an individual like mark. It's not based off of your preferences of likes and dislikes, and this is what, you know what I'm saying? It's like higher than that. So this idea of aiming higher to the higher truth. Let me see if I can give an example. Like in the relationship that I'm kind of dealing with now. Okay, here we go. I have a truth that's kind of on this level, that at the beginning of the school year, I was going through a very sensitive time because I was like having all of these adjustments in my life. And it was like a new phase of my life, new insecurities. I feel sensitive. Say that I have a friend that I very much value. By the way, this is not this friend who's in the internet. I'm talking about someone in real life. Anyone would know. I have a friend. This is kind of based off of truth. Okay. I have a friend who has a very strong personality. I like people with strong personalities that are totally different than mine. I'm really fine, you know, with that. But when I'm feeling sensitive, I have trouble dealing with that. So in my realm here, my truth could be like, oh, ouch, 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 my feelings are hurt. Ugh, like that kind of thing. I'm feeling sensitive towards this relationship. My higher truth is, oh, I love this person. I actually love the way that they are. It's fine for them to be that way. So it's like kind of organizing, like instead of being like, oh, I'm going to like have a conflict with them or like complain or whatever it is, It's like, instead, maybe I just need to take some space where I get through my sensitive period before I'm exposing myself. And that might be in line with my higher truth of like, I want to preserve this relationship and friendship. I value this person. It's fine for them to be who they are. We're not trying to change other people. We're just working on ourselves. You know what I mean? There are different ways to approach something. Like, you could approach that situation by saying like, I'm going to tell them that hurt my feelings and that's how I feel. And there might be truth to that too. It really is dependent on, you know, all these circumstances. There's not like a set rule for anything. And that's why we kind of have to figure out for ourselves, like, okay, what's my personal truth? And then what's the higher truth? Because our personal truth is always colored by our point of view. The higher truth is above that and can kind of see multiple points of view at the same time. We talked earlier when we were talking about the zodiac as there being like, there are 12 different, you never know the real truth of something until you can see it from 12 different sides. No one picture of the zodiac holds the truth for the whole thing. You know what I mean? Okay, let me know if that makes sense. I kind of went off on a tangent there. You usually do it like that, sending one goodbye message and wishing them well without me in their life. Exactly, yeah, and then at least they know. And it's like, oh, you don't have to kind of like, you don't have to feed the dynamic by doing that. But it does give them an opportunity. And it's also kinder, I think, because it doesn't, like, leave them wondering. But like I said, if I'm, it's also not, everything's an opportunity. Like, so in being in that situation, it's an opportunity, I suppose, to like wonder, I wonder what I did wrong. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Could be fruitful, might not be fruitful, depends. Everything's so complex. Well, so that's what the journaling brought up for me. I hope that you all got a lot out of this journaling too. So I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube. So, and of course it'll be up on Twitch for a while as well, if you want to go back and see some of our information on Sagittarius and all of that. And we're going to end with another flower affirmation. Here it is. All right, so we started with agrimony, by the way, which was the one of the 12 healers. It's the one that people often associate with Sagittarius, which is why we talked about it. And with this one, just as a little refresher, it was about the like distracting yourself, kind of throwing yourself towards other things in order to not kind of deal with the pain that's inside. And if you think of the order of the zodiac, if we're coming out of Scorpio, which is that kind of that shadow and that inner work, a tendency that could happen with Sagittarius is like to distract yourself, to have like, kind of put on a cheerful face, maybe like be more like, if you a person who's like this could be like a partier or something, kind of prone to addiction because actually they're not facing something that's deeper that maybe came up with Scorpio. And then, as we talked about earlier with Capricorn, there's like there's some courage, there's some facing of fears that have to happen. So maybe we're in between these. Anyway, that's what agrimony is usually a remedy for. And then Yerba Santa is one of the 12 heart remedies by FES. And now I went through these and I tried to pair the 12 with what would make sense with each sign. It's kind of a fun exercise, like to look at things in terms of 12. So Yerba Santa is for repressed emotion. And I'll end here with this affirmation from Yerba Santa. And here's the image too. If you want to kind of call in the spirit of that flower and connect to it, it says, "My heart is an instrument of clear, calm knowing. I allow old emotions to come to surface. I learn to breathe with my knowing heart. I am finding my future. I am finding myself." Whoa! What a picture that gives for everything we were just talking about, right? That clear, calm knowing. That's that inner truth that's not swayed by the realm of personal kind of preferences and emotions and things like that. Clear, calm knowing, finding your future, and finding yourself in that. That's that aiming higher, as we're trying with Sagittarius. It's with Sagittarius, we're moving forward and we're aiming, but now what we're trying to do is aim higher. So again, back to the in classical esoterica, just to leave you again with this. In classical esoterica, control of thinking and of speaking becomes truth. And that is connected to Sagittarius. That's supposed to be the lesson. So we really go over that at the very beginning, if you want to check that out. Mai, thank you so much. It's so good to connect with you again. And it's good to be streaming again. And it's nice to meet you, Chiz, and Lyanne, and Amber. Thank you so much again. Thank you, everybody. We'll do this again. And don't forget, if you want to get a reading, or if you want to get like a personal remedy made for you with flowers, since we're talking about flowers, all of that's available in my Etsy shop and my Ko-fi shop. All of that is there. I'm going to find somebody to raid. If you're watching this in the future on YouTube, then be sure to come over and follow on Twitch if you would like to be a part of this live. Oh, thank you, Lyanne. I hope that it was helpful in some way. Yes, whenever we have the time and energy, that's the thing. That's the thing. But I also think it's like, I think for me, it's also going to be like feeling the inspiration. Like, when can I want to do something through streaming. You know, I want to have something to offer and something to give. So that's sort of that's going to be my intention with it. Rather than like, oh, what do I need to do to grow? You know what I mean? I think that's where I'm at now. Is like, I'm not really, it'll grow how it needs to grow. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try to have a healthy relationship with it in that way. It's good to be back though. Okay. You don't know how to explain, but it really matches with your life right now? Chiz, I'm so glad to hear that. You know, we're all in this same energy together. So it makes sense that it matches with your life right now. And it's so good to hear that feedback, that is true. So if you got a chance to sit with the journal prompt or the card pull, feel free to, again, in my Discord, if you want to, if you don't have a deck and you want to pull a card, there's a spot where you can do that in the Divination tent. And also, if anyone wants to be notified for the next stream or just wants to connect with the community, Discord is great. And then once I get off, if you want to go back to the beginning of stream, if it really spoke to you, we really went in deep with the Sagittarius stuff. And I know you're a Sagittarius. And also, happy late birthday. It just happened. Today is my husband's birthday. Lars's birthday is today. Then yeah, you can go back. You can check out the beginning of the stream. We really went deep with stuff there too. Oh, I appreciate you all so much. I'll go peek around, see if there's someone to raid, and I will see you next time. Bye.